If you're a little greedy and you like drawing cards and ramping and you like value in general, then I've got a pretty sweet deck that I'd like to share with you today. I'm Sven and welcome to my channel, Ceaseless MTG. Today's deck is a partner deck with Kodama of the East Tree and Sakashima of 1,000 Faces as our commanders. As I just mentioned, this is a value deck and we're looking to ramp a lot and draw a lot of cards so that we can get Kodama of the East Tree in play as early as possible and then start putting free cards in play. Now these two commanders make an awesome pair in my opinion, since that thanks to Sakashima's ability you can actually have multiple copies of Kodama of the East Tree in play, which needless to say leads to some pretty absurd things. Also, while this deck may not exactly be what you call a budget deck, it is rather cheap with no card in the list costing more than $10 apart from Sakashima of 1,000 Faces. And the total price of the deck sitting at around $150. Let's move on and talk about the deck. The main theme of the deck is clones. First we'll talk about the clone effects in the deck, and then we'll follow it up with what we plan to actually clone, apart from Kodama of the East Tree. Mirage Mirror, Glasspool Mimic, Mirror Image, and Phyrexian Metamorph are all really cheap and efficient. And then we have Clever Impersonator, which can copy any permanent. Gigantoplasm can manipulate its own stats. Altered Ego can't be countered, also good mana sink. And then Spark Double ignores the legend rule, just like Sakashima, our commander. Then we have the more expensive clone effects with Progenitor Mimic, which keeps pumping out more copies of itself, and Sakashima's Protege, which has Cascade. Now, since we're looking to go big, our early game plan is mostly dedicated to ramping. Now, first we have Explorer, Farseek, Growth Spiral, Nature's Lore, Rampant Growth, and 3 Visits, which are all essentially variants of the same effect. We get to put an extra land in play for 2 mana. Then we have Harrow and Skyshroud Claim, which are both a bit more expensive but also a bit more powerful. But we're not done with the ramp yet. We need some of it stable to creatures so that we have the ability to clone our ramp effects. Coiling Oracle and Risen Reef are both great clone targets in the early game, though they're not guaranteed ramp. Springbloom Druid and Wood Elves are also good clone targets for ramping, but the best one might be Lotus Cobra. As you can see, we have a lot of ways in this deck to put additional lands in play, and if you can manage to clone the Cobra, things can get really silly. Lastly, we have a few mana rocks. Soaring is an auto-include because we're playing EDH. We have Talisman of Curiosity, Simic Signet, and Arcane Signet. And that brings us to a total of 12 cards that ramp us on turn 2 or earlier. A big part of our game plan revolves around cheating things in play with Kodama of the East Tree. So we need a lot of card draw so that we can keep cheating things in play. Icefang Coatl just draws a card when it enters the battlefield. Eternal Witness draws a specific card from our graveyard. Beast Whisperer is absolutely insane if you can manage to clone it, draw a million cards. Kiruga and Muldrifter both draw multiple cards when they come into play. Tatiova turns our land drops into card draw. Then we have Soul of the Harvest, Regal Force, Guardian Project, and Zendikar Resurgent that all turn our creatures into card draw in different ways. And to wrap up this card draw section, we're also playing a few tutor effects. We have Fierce Empath that can grab something big out of our deck. We have Momir Vic, Simic Visionary, as a repeatable tutor and card draw engine. And lastly, we have some pod effects with Neoform and Eldritch Evolution. Our top end consists of Agent of Treachery, Avenger of Zendikar, and Terastodon, which are the biggest and most impactful creatures we're aiming to clone. Now, I decided to also mention Genesis Wave here, since it's also a way of going really big. As you might have noticed, a lot of the creatures in the deck have really valuable enter the battlefield triggers. so a little blink package makes a lot of sense. Thassa Deep Dwelling and Deadeye Navigator lets us squeeze a little bit of extra value out of our ETB creatures. Also, Deadeye Navigator provides a little bit of protection at instant speed, and they're often going to be pretty good clone targets themselves. We also pack a few non-creature blink cards with Essence Flux, Ghostly Flicker, and Illusionist Stratagem. And to top it off, we have Panharmonicon for those sweet double triggers. In EDH, you have to run a little bit of interaction. So we have Nature's Claim, Reclamation Sage, and Acidic Slime as our disenchant effects. And then we have Counterspell, Mystic Snake, and Frill the Mystic as our counter magic. And then we have Beast Within as our catch-all removal piece. Okay, so I'm not gonna go over every single land in the deck, as it would probably make this video way longer than I'd like it to be. I will, however, include a link with a deck list in the description, where I have a budget-friendly mana base that you can either use as it is, or you can tweak it if you wish. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out. Also, let me know if you think I forgot to include some obvious cards in the deck or anything, and you can write it in the comments down below. And yeah, thank you kindly for the view. Until next time.